There's not going to be a NATO war against Russia because NATO doesn't have any capability at all. None. Zero. Nothing. It's all advantage Russia. Straight up. So I don't lose too much sleep over that. I more worry about strategic confrontation between the United States and Russia than I worry about a European provocation because Europe is broken. They're broken. Nima, there's not a military in Europe today that can sustain a campaign in Ukraine for longer than a month of meaningful proportions. Logistics. And without the United States, Europe cannot do anything. Nothing. 2,000 French troops. That's what they're talking about. 2,000. Ukraine loses between 2,300 and 3,000 troops a day. So France is willing to provide enough troops to sacrifice on the battlefield for less than 24 hours. And that's it. That's the French commitment. And Russia's going to lose sleep over this. No, there's nothing going to happen from NATO. When the drones flew into Poland, what was the German response? 2 typhoons? Two. The Netherlands, they put in 2 F-35s. Great Britain flew it. That's it. Want to know why? Because to deploy aircraft is an expeditionary capability. That means that you have to leave the base where you operate from and go to another base that's prepared to receive you, maintain your aircraft, fuel your aircraft, do all that support. And Europe has no capability whatsoever to do that. You can't just take a French squadron and fly them to a Polish airfield and operate from the Polish airfield unless you have French infrastructure in place. It doesn't exist. That's the fatal flaw of NATO. It used to be there was interoperability. Back in the 1980s, NATO was designed to be an interoperable force. So one NATO base was like another NATO base, like another NATO base. So if you had to transfer a squadron of F-15s from Spangdahlem, to Bitburg, you could do it without blinking. The Germans could deploy F-104s to any base because the infrastructure was there. We trained to do this. As divisions advanced, logistical trains from a corps could support a German division, they could support an American division, they could support a British brigade. They could do it all because we trained that way for interoperability. There is no interoperability today at all. None. A Polish division requires unique support and sustainment requirements separate from that of the American brigade that will be fighting alongside. So that means we need 2 parallel logistical support capabilities operating on a single line of communication. Do you understand how fatally stupid this is? Because if you know about logistics, you'll know what I'm talking about. You're going to be putting a lot of trucks with a lot of fuel and a lot of ammunition on one highway, and they're all going to die. And when that happens, the 4 deployed troops run out of fuel, run out of ammunition, and they get killed. This is the reality of this war. NATO to fight Russia has to go through Ukraine to get to Russia. They will not make it there. They will die before they get there. This is the reality. NATO is a joke. They don't train to do this, and they don't have time to train to do this. It took us decades of concerted effort, spending hundreds of billions of dollars to train NATO to be the army that existed, the military alliance that existed in the late 1980s. The greatest military alliance ever made. Nothing will ever come close to that. But it's gone. It's finished. The NATO of today is not that. They can't do that. They don't have that capability, and they're never going to be able to rebuild that capability because it all hinged on the great United States of America. Back when we had 300,000 troops forward deployed in West Germany, when we had military bases all over West Germany, they don't exist today. With 30,000 troops in Germany, come on, man, we had 300,000. And we could immediately deploy within 10 days another 250,000. We had the equipment already pre-deployed in Germany. All we had to do is fly in the troops, marry up with the equipment. It was all maintained, ready to go, start the engine, fully loaded for combat, go to war. You can't do that today. Not even close. It takes 6 months for an American brigade to receive its warning order to be loaded onto ships and be sailed into Hamburg, where they would then offload, and then they get caught up in a train system because you can't cross borders. There's no customs and control there. They haven't figured that one out. The bridges, the rail, nothing can handle military traffic nowadays. Nothing. It all used to be designed to handle it. Today, nothing handles it. It's a joke, Nima, an absolute tragic joke.